Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. Yep, you're watching Alpha Investments. And remember, no matter how nice the artwork is, we only use plastic card store chairs from your local LGS. Folks, sit back and relax. Hold on, let me look professional. You ready? When you make videos, when you talk about life, you don't mess around. All right, folks. Interesting conversation I had with some patrons regarding this whole principle of endgame. This whole principle of why does Rudy do what he does? How is he ever going to sell what he has? Why do people, how do you stay motivated? All these cliche, cheesy kind of topics that people tend to come up with, right? Or how to get rich quick? Buy my CD, click the link below, 10 easy steps. There is no shortcut. I'm sorry, there is no CD I can sell you guys. There is no secret to get rich on Wall Street or any collectible or anything like that. It is a long journey. It is a long gauntlet. It is a long, long marathon in life. There is no shortcut, skip through the bushes and get first place. And many people have this wiring that they believe everything in life has to have a beginning and some end game goal, right? Well, I will tell you all, I don't believe in that concept. I believe in kind of the approach and principle that kind of, I don't know what, Blizzard, Diablo, and video games use. And these large companies that make these video games, they're based around progression, right? Progression means that you have some sort of feeling or fulfillment or some sort of, as every day you do something, it's a step or a process that you move forward in life. There is no set endpoint where it's like, all right, I won. I bought all the magic cards, I got all the Pokemon, now I'm going to sit on my throne and brag. There is, most people who are entrepreneurs, they like the feeling of progression. That's really what this video is. I guess I should just title this video Progression, but you need some sort of negative clickbait title, otherwise nobody watches YouTube anymore, and everybody clicks off after 5 seconds unless you make something negative or dramatic, right? Bankruptcy or failure, we got to put some dramatic wording in the title, right? And I think it's important for people to understand that a lot of mindset in life isn't really about, what's your goal? Rudy, if I had half the things or half the cards you had, I would have just retired, disappeared, deleted my whole channel, and sailed off into the sunset. Okay, well, that is something for some people, and that is an option in life. I don't view things like that. I view things as, again, it's like an adventure game. Life is so similar to the video game concept that a lot of these very in-depth games build. There isn't really an end game. There isn't really a point where you're done. It's more of you feel like you're continuing to progress. If you've never played a Path of Exile, a Diablo type video game, any form of long action RPG type game, you'll understand that, if you have, you'll understand that it's not about just getting to the end. It's a grind. That's why they call it grinding in a game or something, to level up your stats. It's more of a process of continuing to kind of accrue and kind of step up in life, in society, in progress, in the game, whatever it is, right? And if you look at it that way, it makes a lot more sense. I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding why certain people do the things they do. And everyone's perspective is so different. If you're not viewing it from their lens, it doesn't make much sense. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in. For example, let's now jump over to the card world. We know what's going on right now, right? If you've been living under a rock or if you don't know anything about trading cards, let me fill you in. Magic the Gathering continues to be in a nasty little bear market. Prices aren't tanking, but prices are flat. There's no growth. There's no appreciation. Vintage and old Magic cards continue to just be like toxic assets. Nobody wants them. I mean, the prices are just flat to negative with the buy list of major stores in the United States continue to price ABU, Arabian Nights, Four Horsemen sets. They continue to price them very, very weak. I'd say they're 30 to 50% off their all-time highs from 2021. So whenever you hand pick a category and say, Rudy, fine art is down 30, 50% from the highs. I'm sure it is. Rudy, the luxury Rolex watch market is going back down to MSRP. The prices are down 20, 30, 40%, depending what model you're looking at. Okay. Now, I can counter some of this stuff and I can say to you all, are you sure some of those prices should have ever been that high? Are you sure the market and the free tendies and to the moon and 10x my money and Wall Street bets, are you sure that $20,000 SRP, MSRP Rolex should have been selling for $40,000? Or is that a side effect of bad government policy, overprinting of money, telling people to stay home and here's a free check? These are all side effects. You know how many billions of dollars in PPP loans that were just squandered buying Lambos and Raris and buying all kinds of collectibles? I mean, these are all things that you may not want to hear, but these are things that they happened. These are facts. You know, PPP loans and government spending and all this stuff, it distorted the true value of many asset classes. And now we all feel like we have these hangovers because things are going back to the value and the price point that they should have been. And it feels bad. It feels like we're in this crappy market. It feels like everything you buy just goes down the next day. Oh, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to click the buy button. Ready? Click. Boom, down 20%. That's how it's supposed to feel. It wasn't supposed to be, I'm going to buy this painting for 50 grand and tomorrow I'm going to sell it for 100. Like, that's not the way a market's supposed to be. And that's a good sign that things are distorted. They are not functioning the way a free market should. And unfortunately, back to the card world now, Magic continues its hangover, and then you have bad management. The people at the top of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are doing such extreme damage to the long-term value of the brand of Magic. It's I don't have words to describe to you all what is happening with this Project Booster Fund, which is a fun term that's been getting slung around quite a bit in the last 30 days. We can do another video on that, but essentially, you know, unless Wizards throttles back on reprints and Project Booster Fund, I mean, it's going to run out of things to reprint, and they're going to have a hard time continuing to jack prices up. There is going to be a breaking point, and the path they're on is not sustainable. But I do believe there's enough people in the company, normal employees and working, the actual people who do the work, are smart enough to kind of try to push some of these higher up suits to get them to change. And I do believe Wizards and Magic will experience change, hopefully for the better. Now we go over to the world of Pokemon. Pokemon, ever since it entered the new block of Scarlet Violet, the whole SV block, Scarlet Violet, the negativity in Pokemon is dead type thing, I haven't seen it since 2017. In 2017-18, obviously Pokemon was in the XY era, Evolutions, Primal Clash, Ancient Origins, Fates Collide, Steam Siege, blah, 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 and Breakpoint, Breakthrough, all that crap. Generations. And everybody thought everything was overprinted and going to zero then. Now, I can tell you, in 2023, Pokemon remains probably the most attractive in the card world right now. It is by far the most attractive class of cards. I would say asset class or category of CCGs. It is so... And now, the reason I say that's the most attractive, I know some of you are going to say, well, Rudy, what about sorcery? What about Lorcana? I'm going to buy Lorcana for $400 and I'm going to sell it for $1,000 a box. Okay, well, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching Lorcana with your wife's boyfriend. We're gonna stay in separate 6 feet social distance. Okay. For those of you who are making all your tendies and flipping in Lorcana and making money, dude, go for it, man. More power to you. But I am not getting involved in that. So, but the thing is, when you look at Pokemon, the reason it's the most attractive is not because it's the hottest right now. But it's because the price to attractiveness, like that ratio, is why I like it. Pokemon, this new block, is not short printed, it's not overprinted, it's readily available, everyone's negative, no one's hoarding it, the prices are back where they should be. Pokemon, if stores are paying $95 to $100 for a Pokemon box, the Pokemon box should be selling for $120, okay? Now, when you see these things in the open market selling for $99, $96, well, I mean, I guess plus tax, so $105 shipped maybe, these are really attractive entry points, even for regular people, not business owners, not evil investors. I mean, to get into a class like Pokemon sealed product at prices like this, like the last 2 years, it's mind-numbing. And here we are, and everyone's just flipped the whole table over, saying, "Oh no, Pokemon's dead. It's useless." So because Pokemon, which I consider kind of the blue chip cream of the crop of CCGs, above Magic, I hate to say that, but Pokemon has one booster box. There's not 40 variants. They're running it good. They haven't lost their mind with Project Booster Fun. They're not just completely destroying their own brand. They've done some reprints here and there, but they haven't overdone it. They make sure everything's within line. They're doing a good job. And you have to give credit when a company does a good job. In Pokemon, is the brand and the IP is so powerful, intellectual property. The brand of Pokemon itself is just so attractive, and to be able to have access at normal pricing. You don't have to go to your local Walmart or Target. You don't have to fight a bunch of old guys at Target when MJ Holdings and Excel Marketing restock your Walmart and Target shelf. You don't have to do any of that. And you have access to these at great prices, at store prices. I mean, like I said, you can open an account with a distributor, open a brick and mortar store, open an office, open a warehouse, open all the crap, put a sign, do all this crap. Congratulations. What do you get? Pokemon boxes for what? 95? 98? 99? 101? What are you going to pay? Like, the average person has access to getting these prices now on the open market. And it's just like, my brain just implodes like the submersible. No, that's a bad joke. I don't want to go there. People, rest in peace, those people. But, my brain implodes. It's a terrible thing. And I'm just like, the opportunity that is missed out by the average person is just sad. It's disappointing, because when prices spike and people go crazy, it reminds me of the Chilling Reign situation, which we have a video coming up pretty soon on. But anyways, so I look at Pokemon. Super cheap, super attractive. Let's look at Sorcery. Sorcery Beta coming out first week of November? So what are we, 45 days from release from Sorcery Beta? Alpha box is pushing $1,000 a box already from Alpha Sorcery? Dude, Sorcery's going to come out. Beta's going to come out. It's going to be extremely successful. I have no reason to believe that it's not going to be well loved. People are going to be cracking boxes like crazy. They're going to be exploring it, building decks, learning the mechanic, just everything about it. I would assume they're going to have all kinds of hidden crap, because that's what Sorcery is known for. I wonder if they're going to have the same hidden things. I bet they don't. I bet they change some of the hidden things in Beta compared to Alpha just to trigger all of us. I look at Weiss. Weiss, and again, I know a lot of people are saying, Rudy, have you noticed Wizards and Magic is taking the approach of Weiss and doing crossover IPs with all these Magic sets? Fallout, Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy. Magic is becoming Weiss, Rudy. And, I just wish more of you out there have tried Weiss, or, played the game one time, or looked into Weiss to understand more about it. So I don't like to compare it too much to Weiss, because a lot of people don't know what it is. But yes, it does feel like Wizards is kind of trying to go in that direction. The problem is, I don't know if that works for Magic. It works for Weiss, but I don't think it works as well for Magic. I think the suits at Hasbro and Cynthia Williams and Dr. Cox are so disconnected at this point. It's something we can't even describe anymore. So anyways, we look at the overall market. Everything. Let's see here. Graded comic books, graded video games, luxury watches, fine art, Magic, Pokemon, I guess most CCGs except Sorcery or Disney or something. I mean, you look at all these things. Real estate with the high interest rates. Crypto is crypto doing anything anymore? Are people still waiting to make a 100x on their money? Like, you look at all this stuff, and the market's been volatile. I think the overall S&P is still doing pretty good for the year, but it's been volatile the last few weeks. But I mean, you look at everything, and it's a game of progression. And I don't think people... Lego. By the way, you guys really like that Lego video. We're going to have to do more Lego videos. I did not expect the insane feedback. I think that video is like 60,000, 70,000 views. And people really like the Lego video. Far greater than I expected on this channel. Go figure. But you can't... Markets are going to do what they're going to do. Prices are going to do what they're going to do. Markets are going to reprice things higher and lower as we go through time. You take a timeline of life, and as we slide across time, the values of things are going to move, okay? You can't be overly confident and cocky because you bought something and it went up in value in a bull market. You can't be overly negative saying, Flesh and Blood's going to zero. MetaZoo's going to zero. Magic is the next to go to zero. It's all going to zero. You can't be overly negative and bearish when things just stop going up. Because again, these are normal market cycles. This is part of the feeling of progression through life. You're supposed to feel like every day you kind of chip away and you move forward. That's what gives you that fulfillment, whether it's family, maybe religion, maybe it's a career, significant other, maybe you're trying to coordinate with a certain individual in your life or a friend or a business, or maybe you're rebuilding an old vintage car. Maybe you're rebuilding a muscle car. Maybe you're tuning up a hot Toyota Supra. Maybe you're trying to, whatever you're into. It's the same principle. You want to go through some sort of journey or progress. In the human mind, for most people at least, I always felt is healthiest and happiest when you have that fulfillment. And that can be derived from many categories. Everybody's different. But it's derived from the same outcome. And that is, you kind of every week, every month, every day, every year, the goal is to move forward, to be in a better place than you were yesterday, last week, last month, last year, last decade. And for most humans, this does hold true. There's always going to be outliers and people who just get dealt a bad hand in life, or just an absolute tragedy. There are things like that in life that are just absolutely awful that happen. But for most of you watching, you're not going to fit in that extreme category. For the people who are in that extreme category, I'm sorry, that's just a terrible thing. I don't understand some things in life. I'm not that smart in everything in life, but there are some people that just get hosed. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand the meaning of life in that, but it is. But for most of you out there, you will find the most fulfilling, progressive thing as you age and go through life is when you feel like you're making progress in whatever it is you want to make progress in. And again, that could be anything from relationship to religion to family to wealth to careers to rebuilding to collecting. It could be anything, man. The principle holds true. And I think a lot of us, what's happening in modern times is we go through these market swings and people almost feel like the progression, like if your bank account stops going up, or if you just keep losing money, you feel like you lose that progression feeling. You feel like you lost that feeling of like staircase, like the little steps up every day. Like you feel like you got knocked off the staircase and you just fell all the way to the bottom. One of those video games like the Up game or something where it's just oh my God, you fall all the way to the bottom and it's like devastating, right? But I think it's tough for people to accept that. I think you're supposed to feel that way. I think there's many points in life where you're supposed to feel like things are going wrong, where you're running the hamster wheel. You're not making any progress. You're not pushing forward. All I'm doing is stuck in a circle. I think there is supposed to be segments of everyone's life where you go through that because you have to know what that feels like. And this goes back to the card world. When we are in these bad management, bear market, Hasbro, Wizards of the dumbass coast, when these people are printing 100 variants, 80,000 secret layers, just diluting and destroying their own brand, when you go through this stuff, you question everything. Why am I buying this? Why am I collecting this? Why am I investing in this? Why do I play the game? They're just game pieces, Rudy. They should all be a quarter. And you start to see cracks in the system and the economy of these markets. And, I think we lose sight that markets are supposed to be bad sometimes. And I think that feeling derails people from that feeling of progression. You don't feel like you're moving forward because you're in a macro environment or a micro environment in a certain subcategory that feels like shit. Right? Things aren't going the way you want them to. I mean, I've had it happen many times. I have magic releases. I just had okay, here's a good one. We're late in the video. No one's watching. Wildsville Drain collector boxes. I didn't even carry the set, the draft, or the commander, and I didn't even sell out of the Wildsville Drain collector boxes. And I didn't have 6,000 or 8,000. I only had 5,000 or 6,000, 4,000, 5,000. I don't fuck, whatever it is. I had like 20% less. And guess what? I wasn't even able to sell all the collector boxes. I was negative cash flow, no profit on it, because again, I sold large volumes of them for $179 shipped, Then smaller orders were 189 to the 190s. And guess what? Here's a news flash for you. There's no money in it. I didn't make any money. In fact, if you include the heavy bags I'm stuck with the hundreds of boxes left over, I'm actually negative, like over $100,000 on Wildsville Drain release. I made no money. And on top of that, people always think, oh, Rudy just makes all this and he manipulates the market. And the reality is, I have to mentally handle all this fake garbage that's online. And on top of it, many times, like this month right here, I'm going to lose my ass. With Wildsville Drain, a whole pallet left over and everything of collectors, dude, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Actually, let's see if there's a pallet. There's like 500 boxes left, 600. What was the cost based on these stupid things? Is it 180s now? 190? 185? I got a couple dollars off a box. So even if you lose $10 a box selling them, times like 2,000-3,000 you sold, that's negative like 30 grand. Then you get stuck with some. So that's negative maybe 100, negative 200,000. But that's, I've been working all week. I got all the patron orders shipped and everything, all the collector boxes. We even had a Force of Will release. The Force of Will release did better than the Magic release. Like, I'm selling, I actually have a couple reserve cases. Like, I have patrons, they're like, Rudy, you're selling Force of Will, the new set, Crimson Tree boxes or something. I'm selling for like 89 shipped for a box, for a case. $89 a box, you buy a case. They're like $130 with tax and shipping already online. Like, there are patrons that are buying Force of Will, like sealed cases from me. If your patron still wants them, I have a couple left over, by the way. Who are literally like, Rudy, I made more money buying Force of Will off you in Magic the Gathering. That tells you how distorted and how negative the market is. And, I think everyone's lost sight of so many things. I really do. And the problem is, I don't blame myself. I don't blame LGSs. I don't blame other YouTubers. I don't even blame distribution. I blame Wizards and Hasbro for printing so much and causing such damage. The amount of patrons and messages that are still supporting me, they're just like, I'm not buying Magic from you, Rudy. I'll buy your Pokemon. I'll buy Weiss. Hell, I'll buy MetaZoo, and I'll buy the new One Piece sale you have coming up. I'll buy the new Sorcery from you. I'll buy, Flesh and Blood all day long with the cold foils, Rudy. But I'm not buying I mean, dude, I get that almost daily. And I'm like, well, I appreciate the feedback. I mean, I still love Magic, but I understand what you're saying. And that's where we're at, folks. So, conclusion of this video. We have some awesome sales coming up. This video and everything is sponsored by myself. We have a new Flesh and Blood set coming. Bright lights with the exclusive Diamond Hands cold foil. We have the MetaZoo Rudy eating crayons. Rudy with crayon hollows that attach to Rudy. Going to be really cool. Coming up here in the next couple weeks. I have a special coming up this weekend. I can't legally, tell you the price and everything that happened, but let's just say this. I am running a special for Commander Masters for the first time ever. Set and Draft. Set is Friday night, which might be the day you watch this. And Draft is Sunday night. And it's going to be the best price in the United States, if not the world. And, that's all I can say publicly on that. I can't really disclose that per the agreement. So we have that coming up. And, we have Sorcery in November, end of October. I mean, we're doing some box openings and exploring all the different sets still. And, the Wildsville Drain cards are so damn beautiful. That fairy tale, the art, the stuff. I mean, it's not even about the R&D or the cards. That's why. Even the collector box, the packaging was beautiful. Everything about it is fucking beautiful. It pisses me off how nice they look. It's just, it's too much. In Wizards, it's just, I don't know what the long-term damage, and I don't know what the brand and dilution is going to be to Wizards and Hasbro long-term. I don't know by the time they make the changes. I don't know how Magic is going to look. They will make changes. We just don't know how long it's going to take and what the market's going to look like by the time they do. And that's my perspective on it. I was going to go into some other things, but this is a long video. I'm going to let it be already. As always, folks, have a beautiful day. Surround yourself with good people. Helps bring you up in life, and you learn things. Remember, never be the most successful person in the group. Always be smart, be respectful to everybody, and have good people in your lives. And that will always help you. It'll kind of lead you to better things in your life. And if not, here's a picture of my penis.